On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks get a win in a pivotal Game 5 against the Thunder. We'll talk about how the leadership of Luka Doncic and, yes, Jason Kidd led the Mavericks to this victory, and they're going for more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks
Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network, where we let it ride. Let it ride. Game 5 win. Thanks for being part of the show and making Locked On Mavs your first listen today, where the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day on any podcast platform, leave a 5-star review, like the video on YouTube, comment anything below on YouTube. Let me know what stood out to you in Game 5, and then go to Locked On Thunder. That's correct. Go to Locked On Thunder and comment again. Let's do it again. Luka sucks, ? Luka sucks, ? Go comment that on Locked On Thunder right now. Let's go. We'll talk about how the Mavericks got this win. A lot of things to talk about in this one. Derrick Jones Jr. standing out like a stud in this one. Absolutely awesome seeing what Derrick Jones Jr. has done in this game. 10 points in the first quarter. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the rookie, the 20-year-old rookie Dereck Lively, being the one to anchor this team in stretches in this game when the Mavericks defense was absolutely wild. We'll talk about that Mavericks defense because it was smothering. This Thunder team is a good offense, and the Mavs are making them look like not a good offense. Maybe one of the worst offenses in the NBA. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Absolutely insane for this Dallas Mavericks team, but I got to bring it back. I got to call it back. Yesterday, on this very show, I sat here and I said to you, it was just you and me here, and I said the Mavs are winning this game. The Mavs are winning this game. The Mavs are winning this series. I was confident in the Game 5 victory for the Mavericks, and I was confident because of Luka Doncic. And Luka has been incredible in the playoffs in his career. He's had incredible playoff moments. He's had a game winner. He's had 40-point games. He's had more 40-point games under the age of 22 in the playoffs than anybody else in NBA history. Luka has had the moments. The kids say he's him. Luka has said he's him. Now he said it on Overwatch, but he said I'm him. Luka was him in this game tonight. Luka came out, and the Mavs, honestly, what did I say yesterday? They just needed him to be normal regular season Luka. Just give him those numbers. You don't even need the crazy 40-point games. You don't need the 18 assists. You don't need anything crazy like that. You don't even need 7 of 8 from 3 or something. 31 points, 10 boards, 11 assists for Luka, 3 turnovers. Shot 5 of 11 from 3. Only took 3 free throws. Didn't matter. Hit 12 of 22 of his shots, meaning that he met 7 of 11 from 2, which is the big one right there. That's the big one. The three-point shooting, awesome. 5 of 11. Bailed him out in a couple of really great possessions. The Mavericks got some offensive rebounds. They kicked him back out, and Luka ended the play, and that really hurts you as the other team. If you're the other team and all of a sudden you give up an offensive rebound and then a 3 from Luka at that is a massive, massive swing for a team. And it can mess with your psyche. And especially, we've been talking about this Thunder as a young team. Young, inexperienced. This Thunder team hasn't been through this before. They walked through their first-round playoff series against the Pelicans. And now you have them here in this moment where they're tied 2-2. They did a great job in closing out the Mavericks in Game 4. Mavs may have given it to them. Mavs may have made more mistakes than the Thunder made good plays, but the Thunder closed them out. The Thunder blew them out basically in Game 1, 2. So this Thunder team had tied it up, and they had been an amazing team during the regular season. But when you get some of those threes, it's demoralizing. And then all of a sudden, how do you respond to that? And we learned how this Thunder team is going to respond to it. But Luka, 7 of 11 from 2s has been massive. There was a Reddit post in the Mavs Reddit today as I was scrolling through. And it was this guy that went on a multiple paragraph post about why doesn't Luka, and this is a great basketball question, Why doesn't Luka take advantage of his height over Lu Dort? Lu Dort's what, 6'5"? Luka's what, 6'8"? Lu Dort may be 6'4". I stood pretty close to him the other day. By the way, Lu Dort is built like every football player you've ever imagined. But why doesn't he take advantage of him with his height? Well, he's tried to. Luka has tried to. He's tried to get into the paint, and he's tried to finish with those little floaters and those little shots at the rim, those shots around 10 feet. And we've been talking about those all series. He hasn't hit them. And in this game, he went and did that. He went and hit those shots. That's kind of the difference in the game at times for Luka. If he can hit those shots, if he can hit some of those shots close to the rim, that's going to be big. He hit 3 of them, and he hit another elbow jumper, and he hit another long 2, and he hit 2 other shots at the rim. He hits those 2s, and it makes a big difference in this game. The Mavs start hitting some shots at the rim, then all of a sudden the Thunder have to, sell out harder on him because he's getting to the rim and he's getting those easier buckets. They sell out harder on him than they're not covering other guys. And how many times in the first half did Luka throw up a lob to Derrick Jones Jr., who was just wide open, cutting from the corners or cutting behind or whatever? How many times did he hit him on those in this? And it all stems from the attention that Luka gathers, the attention that Luka garners. Absolutely insane from Luka. A normal Luka-looking game for us, 31 points, 10 boards, 11 assists. But for a playoff game like this, especially when the team only scores 104 points, the Thunder only scored 94 points. We'll talk about the Mavs defense. But for Luka to go out and have that game after he had some stinkers in this series so far for his standards. And after I said yesterday, the Mavericks have to have a good or normal Luka game, and they will win this game. And that's exactly what happened. And it really wasn't fully even in question towards the end. Thunder cut it to 7, but cutting it to 7 is not even a clutch game. This didn't even count as a clutch win for the Mavericks. The Mavs got the win, and it starts with Luka. And honestly, so of course we'll give Luka credit. We'll give him he starts with him, it ends with him a lot of times for this Dallas Mavericks team. He was absolutely incredible. Kyrie brought other things, but it was Luka in this one, I thought, that really started it out, and I thought that Luka was the one that gave them the most and gave them exactly what they needed. But if you're going to start giving out credit for a win like this, Jason Kidd deserves some credit for this. This Mavericks defense is humming. They've figured out how to play this Thunder team. They've limited them. They've limited their three-point, the certain three-point shots that the Thunder want to take. They've limited them in a lot of ways. They limited the free throws, which I thought was pretty big in this game too. But the Mavs are now 4-0 in the playoffs after a loss against the Clippers and against the Thunder. They've won after they lose. 4-0. They've not lost 2 games in a row yet this playoff season. And if you're going to start giving out credit, Jason Kidd deserves some credit for that. He has taken this team, and from the time that we looked at this defense and said, man, they have the same problems. Go back to the time in the regular season. They played the Pacers a couple of times. They played the Celtics. They played the Cavs with the Max Strus game. And that stretch where I think Jason Kidd's time is done with the Mavericks. I thought it was over. I thought that they should move on at that point. And since then, this team has completely turned around, and I'm totally fine with it. This team has totally turned around, and Jason Kidd has led this team to become a team that is resilient, a team that can fight back, a team that can take a punch, a team that can take a loss and turn that into a win the very next time out, that takes their mistakes and learns from it. A team that doesn't look at some of their flaws and say, oh, well, we just can't overcome this. Think about the teams in the past. Mavs teams in the past missed threes, and then they just hang their heads. Mavs teams in the past would get foul call or not get foul calls that they wanted or get fouls that they didn't want, and they would hang their heads. And this team is not doing that. And now this team has believed in themselves, and yes, it's because of the influx of talent and Luka and Kyrie and all that kind of stuff, but the head coach gets credit. If you're going to give him blame, and I certainly have, if you're going to give him blame, you got to give him credit too. And so Jason Kidd deserves some credit for this win. Mavs 4-0 following a loss in the playoffs this year. And still going. We'll see what happens later on in this. But Luka, absolutely insane in this game. Started off. He was the big thing. Jason Kidd deserves credit in this one too. The leadership on this Mavs team took them to this next level. Coming up, let's talk about the other reasons why the Mavs got this win. Derrick Jones Jr. and Dereck Lively. What's the correct way to spell Derek? We'll talk about both of those guys and that coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, patience. It's what gives you a winning formula for winning championships. The Mavs may have that, but it also keeps your ride or die car, truck, SUV, all that alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle, level it up to peak performance, superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more things that you could want for your car, truck, SUV, all that. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million different parts to choose from for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit every time, or you get your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber and not cash. With all the parts that you need and want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive. Again, it's eBay Motors. eBay Motors, eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. We appreciate each and every one of you who are checking out the show. We're a daily podcast that covers the Dallas Mavericks 5 days a week, all throughout the offseason, too. We'll continue on throughout the playoffs. And thanks to everybody that has checked in on the show, that has come up to me, or Slightly Biased, or Reggie Atatula, or Dana Larson at Mavs games. Appreciate each and every one of you. Game 6 coming up on Saturday. We'll be there. I'll be there, section 124. Come say hi. We'll hang out. It'll be a great time. And hopefully the Mavericks close this out. But the Mavs are in the position to close this out because of Luka and Jason Kidd. Gave him credit at the beginning. But Derrick Jones Jr. came out and helped the Mavs set a tone. Derrick Jones Jr. is an opportunist. Derrick Jones Jr. will take advantage of an opportunity given to him. Derrick Jones Jr. is not a guy that you give the ball and you say, all right, go give me a bucket. Derrick Jones Jr. is not the guy that you say, all right, run around and come around this screen and take a three off of that. Derrick Jones Jr. is an opportunistic offensive basketball player. And this was the I almost said the episode. This is the game that he took advantage of his opportunities. He played 28 minutes. He scored 19 points. He scored 10 points in the first quarter. And he hit 3 threes wide open. Just they're leaving him because they've been doing it all series. One of the reasons why I was confident in this game for the Mavericks is because the Thunder keep giving them the open threes. And if they're going to keep giving them, the Mavericks will eventually hit some of them. Mavs went 14 of 35 in this game, 40% from 3. Luka helped with 5 of 11. Derrick Jones Jr. hit 3 of 5. PJ hit 2 of 7, which is not a great percentage, but Kyrie Irving hit both of his. Josh Green 1 of 5. That's not a great percentage either. But you got 3 guys basically that hit that got hot a little bit from 3, and Derrick Jones Jr. was one of them. He took advantage of the opportunities given to him. Hit those threes that were wide open because of the attention that Luka garners, the attention that Kyrie still garners, even though he's not scoring a lot. Kyrie is still garnering a lot of attention. They're always sending help. They've got one-on-one guys on him, but they're also sending somebody else to come over and stop him when he tries to drive to the rim. And that leaves Derrick Jones Jr. wide open. We've said it all series. And since he's wide open, he's taking those shots. He also took advantage of some opportunities where he could cut. We talked about the lobs that Luka threw to him. A couple opportunities for him to just get an easy dunk because he was running the floor. He got a steal late in the game, and Luka threw up a lob to him. He got a cut from the right side, and Luka threw up a great lob to him. Luka threw up a lob to him that Ian Eagle, the announcer on TNT, thought was a floater. He's like, Luka throws up the shot to Derrick Jones Jr. And Derrick Jones Jr. also took advantage of some rolling opportunities. The Thunder in this game, I don't think we've seen it very often. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've seen this very often in the series so far that they've been trapping the ball handler. The Thunder send 2 defenders, and whoever is coming up to set a screen or whatever, they're sending 2 defenders to the ball handler, whether it's Luka or Kyrie. And I can remember specifically a play where 2 defenders go at Kyrie, and Derrick Jones Jr. was the screener, and then Derrick Jones Jr. just sets the screen, rolls, and gets a floater right at the rim. A shot that he probably doesn't take that often, but a shot that the Mavericks need him to take because it's wide open. The lane is just wide open because the Mavs have guys in the corners. The Mavs have guys in the dunker spot that nobody can leave. And that shot is just wide open. Derrick Jones Jr., opportunistic basketball player, making the most of what's given to him. And man, he really helped. Second leading scorer on the Mavericks, 19 points for him. And it takes you back to the article from The Athletic. If you want to go check it out, go check out The Athletic and go check out this article about Derrick Jones Jr. by Tim Cato, where he talks about how he could have chosen to go to the Celtics. Derrick Jones Jr. could have chosen to come to the Celtics, and instead he goes to the Dallas Mavericks, gets an opportunity, and he took that opportunity where he was going to play a little bit more than he was going to play on the Celtics. And so he comes to the Mavericks. I think he took a little bit less, but he comes to the Mavericks. And now he wants to return to the Mavericks. And the Mavericks should want him back because not only was he really good on offense, that he's been awesome on defense. He had a block late in the game on Chet that was absolutely insane. 2 minutes left, block on Chet. Luka throws it up to him for a dunk. The Mavs go up by 13 with 2 minutes left. Kind of iced the game at that point. Derrick Jones Jr., the opportunist, taking advantage of the opportunities on offense, clamping down on defense. He's been a huge part of the reason why the Mavericks can be successful because he can switch on anybody. Put him on Chet, okay, he can guard him in space. Put him on SGA, he can guard him. Put him on any of the other Thunder guys, and all of a sudden the Thunder are kind of running out of options to like take advantage of him. They can't. Awesome from Derrick Jones Jr. Dereck Lively. I was a big fan of Dereck Lively back in February when Rafael Barlow came on this show. Rafael Barlow, the great draft expert from NBA Big Board, Locked On NBA Big Board, came on the show in like February or March, over a year ago now. It starts pitching me on draft guys. All right, the Mavericks are hopefully going to have a top 5 pick. Hopefully they make the playoffs, but they could also have a top 10 pick. Who should they take? Who can help this defense? Because the defense was so terrible at that point. And so Rafael starts talking me into Dereck Lively and starts talking to me about who Dereck Lively was. And at this point, Lively was mocked in the 25 range. And he was mocked in those later rounds and those later picks. And so nobody was really putting him up there in like the top 10 or 15. And so it was kind of a hot take at that point for Rafael to pitch him to the Mavericks. But he made a ton of sense. And everything he brought and everything that you thought that he could bring on draft night, except for the three-point shot, which he still has time to develop, obviously. Everything that you thought that he could bring potentially to this team, he is bringing now. Everything you thought he could bring when they were about to draft him, when they did draft him, you're like, oh, eventually he could turn into a rebounder, got 10 rebounds in a playoff game. Eventually he could be a rim roller for this team. He got you 11 points, hit 5 of 6 of his free throws. They did the hack of Lively, and he was able to withstand that. Was that in game 4? Game 3. And Dereck Lively has been absolutely amazing. 11 points, 10 boards. According to Mavs PR, he becomes the youngest Mavs player to notch a double-double in the playoffs. 20 years, 93 days. He just is barely 20, by the way, everyone. He's barely 20. And he had such a big impact on this game. Yes, obviously the scoring, the free throws were massive. The finishes, he had an alley-oop from Luka that was from half court, which was absolutely insane of a pass. Not half court. Excuse me. Not half court. 3/4 court. Luka is at the free throw line. Luka is at the free throw line of the other team's basket, and he throws an alley-oop to Lively. Absolutely insane from Luka, but Lively got that catch. Luka was so excited to see that one go in and to see Lively catch that one. But Dereck Lively, the double-double in this one. 11 points, 10 boards. Joins Roy Tarpley, Sam Perkins, Dale Ellis, and Marquise Daniels, the only Mavericks rookies to ever have a double-double in the postseason. And Lively, as a rookie, is having a big impact. He was better in the Clippers series, and so far, honestly, I think he's made a bigger impact than Gafford in this series too. He's been awesome. Now, he had 3 turnovers, but him in the short roll, you give him that opportunity, and he's going to make the right pass most of the time. Dereck Lively, man, a rookie, a 20-year-old rookie coming in to be as mature as he is, to give you everything that you hoped he would on draft night. You love it. You love to see it. You know what else you love to see? This Mavs defense. This Mavs defense being awesome. We'll talk about why the Mavs defense was so awesome and how did the Mavs make the Thunder offense look like the Pistons. I'll tell you how. Coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Betterhelp. Betterhelp. If you have some anxiety, do this with me. Think about something in your life that causes you anxiety. You think about it and all of a sudden your solar plexus, this area of all these nerves that are right in the middle of like your like right under your sternum, like right above your stomach kind of area. That all of a sudden, like you just get that pit in your stomach, or you get that feeling of anxiety right there. Think about what that thing is. If you're not in therapy, you need to go and talk to somebody about it. They will help you. They'll help you work through it. They will help you to work through the questions that just run through your head over and over Take it from me. I'm somebody that's used BetterHelp before. I go to therapy all the time and have things that I need to talk about. And BetterHelp is the way to do that. If you're thinking about starting to get therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, suited to your schedule. Fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist. Switch therapists at no time. Switch therapists anytime for no charge. At no time. At no time will they charge you for switching therapists. That's what it is. Get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA. Get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com. BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, Isaac, thanks so much for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. Let's talk about this Mavs defense because the Mavs defense was just swarming against this Thunder team. Held them to 92 points. 92 points. Unheard of. Absolutely insane. I think the Mavericks are now 13-0 when they hold an opponent under 100 points since this defense has solidified in the playoffs and regular season. Wild. Here's the stat. Here's the stat that's blowing my mind right now. During the regular season, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who I have prefaced in several episodes during this series, are a very good basketball team. 57 wins in this Western Conference, in this economy, doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't. Coach of the Year does not happen by accident. Number 2 in MVP. No, that one doesn't happen by accident either. It doesn't happen by accident. But this team is very good. This team was a top 5 offense in the NBA. In the regular season, the Thunder had the number 2 half-court offense in the NBA. 105.7 points scored per 100 possessions. So when the Thunder were in the half court, meaning they're not running in transition, they're not pushing the ball, they're not trying to speed up, they're stopped, they walk the ball over half court, basically, you start a half court possession. They're scoring at an elite rate. Number 2 in the NBA in the regular season. 105.7 points per 100 possessions, basically 106. You want to take a guess what their number was in this game? 91.6. 91.6. The Mavs held them down 14 points per 100 possessions. The Mavs held this Thunder offense in the half court to such low levels and depths, had them in such a chokehold, had the clamps on them so hard. The Thunder offense in the half court was worse than the Detroit Pistons, who in the regular season had a half court offensive rating of 92. 92, and the Thunder's was 91.6. The Mavs defense is locked in. Luka and Kyrie are locked in. Those two have been so great. They've been so great in this because they are locked into what they should be doing on defense. And if they're going to be locked in, then there's no excuse for anyone else. PJ Washington, Derrick Jones Jr. have been awesome defending multiple different positions. Gafford has been great at the rim. Great stopping drives and standing and being big and getting in a defensive stance and putting those arms out and just deterring drives. This Thunder team drives all the time. Jalen Williams all the time. SGA, I'm pretty sure, led the league in drives the last 4 years. Dereck Lively, talked about him already. Been great on defense, just stopping guys. The Mavs out-rebounded the Thunder. Now, do rebounds matter? Ask Isaac Harris. Out-rebounded the Thunder. Got 37 defensive rebounds. Luka got 10 defensive rebounds, pulling it down, stopping possessions. PJ Washington, 8 defensive rebounds, 10 total rebounds. Lively got 10 rebounds. 3 guys with 10 rebounds. And Gafford got 7 of his own. Stopping plays, staying connected, making the Thunder offense in the half court look like the Detroit Pistons. I can't say Detroit. I can't say Detroit anymore. It's always Detroit because I just always think of Detroit basketball. Made the Thunder look like Detroit. That's wild to me. This Mavs offense, this Mavs defense is elite. This Mavs defense is championship elite now. You can say that. Played the Clippers, who had a really great offense. They played the Thunder, who have a really great offense. At some point, it's not a fluke anymore. At some point, it's not, this Thunder team, they're just so young and inexperienced that, they're choking. Give the Mavs credit. Give them credit. The Mavs have taken away the three-point shot. Thunder took 40 in this game. They knew they needed to. They tried to take a bunch. Bunch of guys threw him up, but guess what? Guess who led them in three-point attempts again? Lu Dort. That's been the Mavs' key this whole time. Let Lu Dort shoot some threes. Let Giddey shoot some threes. He took 3. Isaiah Joe took 8, but he only made 2 of them because the Mavs were selling out on those threes. When Isaiah Joe was about to take a 3, Luka would just fly by him. And you know what? Sometimes you feel like that's a wild closeout, but if you really want a guy to stop taking a 3, just run at him and flail your arms and jump in the air and don't foul him. Dort 2 of 8. Joe 2 of 8. Joe's a good 3-point shooter. Chet 1 of 5. Cason Wallace 1 of 5. 2 rookies. SGA 2 of 4. Jalen Williams missed all 3. Giddey was 1 of 3. Jalen Williams, the other one, 1 of 3. Ousmane Dieng gets in and takes up a 3 and misses. The Mavs are not giving the Thunder the threes they want. They're not giving the threes they want, and they're taking away the free throws too. 23 free throws taken the entire game. The Mavs played disciplined. The Mavs played a game that didn't send them to the line. And honestly, some of the free throws they got, they shouldn't have gotten. The one that the Mavs challenged at the end, let's talk about that. 3 minutes and 46 seconds left. Luka's guarding SGA, and SGA falls down in the lane. I can hear all the Thunder fans. Let me just give it here. I'm going to step to the side here for a second. Just one little aside for Thunder fans. Just because you talk about one player flopping doesn't mean that I don't think the other player flops too. I'm just bringing it up as a point. Okay? We cool now? We cool? Mavs in 6. SGA falls down on that play, and they challenge it, and they still don't even get it. But it did not seem like a foul to me. It seemed like SGA fell down, and Luka, it was marginal contact. If we're going to talk about marginal contact, that was the play to talk about it on. But they limited the free throws, and the Mavs turned it over. Some weird things happened in this game. This is one of those where you go, man, how is this happening? And the Mavs are going to win this game. The Mavs had 14 turnovers. That was one of my things yesterday. They got to control the controllables, and they didn't really. The 14 turnovers is not what you want. It's not too many, but it's not what you want. And the Thunder scored 17 points off of those. 17 points off of turnovers, and they still only scored 92 points. That's how clamped down this defense was for the Mavs. But they only held the Thunder to 10 free throw attempts. SGA got 6, Lu Dort 2, Chet Holmgren 2. End of story. That was a key from game 1. Got to limit those free throws, and they did. And they did. Other weird things. Jaden Hardy got minutes in the first quarter in this game. Weird. He hit one of the toughest shots of the game. And he provided a little bit of playmaking, had a couple of assists, a nice little lob to Dereck Lively. I feel like every time he plays, he gets at least one of those nice little lobs. But he had a foul on SGA that gave him some of those free throws. He went 1 of 5, so he only hit that one shot. But I think what Kid wanted was just a little bit more movement. A little bit more ball handling, just a little bit more drive to the basket attack. You can tell by that one shot that Hardy made that they wanted him to attack. And so he plays Hardy. But then we also saw the Kyrie, Tim Hardaway Jr. Hardy lineup that has driven us all insane all season. And saw that early in this game. So that happens, and the Mavs still win the game. Other weird things that happened in this one. 9:30 left in the game. Kyrie gets the Tyson tap-out offensive rebound. Taps the ball back. Luka hits a 3. It's one of those daggers where you go, oh my gosh. We just missed getting a defensive rebound, and Luka hit a 3 on us. Mavs go up 18. Largest lead of the game. And that's when OKC starts trapping Luka. They start trapping him, and a couple of mistakes from the Mavericks. PJ Washington has the travel, and then Tim Hardaway Jr. Oh, boy. He hit a 3. He hit another shot, but he had an unforced turnover dribbling the ball. He airballed another 3 in this sequence. Lu Dort hit a 3, and then all of a sudden it was a 10-point game. Mavs called timeout as an 8-0 run for the Thunder, and then Jason Kidd puts Derrick Jones Jr. back in for Tim. Really weird sequence right there, and almost felt like Game 4 all over again when the Mavs were just going to give it up. Oof, that was a brutal stretch right there. But the Mavs withstood it, and Jason Kidd reacted. He put Derrick Jones Jr. back in the game. Good decision by him to put him back in. Dante Exum didn't even play in this game, basically. He's been taken out of the lineup. Jaden Hardy played 14, almost 15 minutes, and Dante Exum didn't play at all. Some interesting decisions made in this game for sure. But hey, the Mavs got the win. They're resilient, 4-0 after they lose a playoff game so far this season. The Mavs have been awesome. Let it ride. Let it ride the rest of your day. Go ahead and go hang out. Do something fun today. Enjoy this win. Mavs play on Saturday. Slightly and I will be there. We'll have you covered after the game. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked on Mavs. Peace out. Boom. Let's go. Mavs in 6. Close it out. Let's go.